Hello? Yeah, my computer's working just fine, but I think my bird has a tummy ache. Hello, tubers! Today I have for you a mill and lathe project you won't see anywhere else, and I was hoping I could pull this one off. Let's give you a little background what led up to this. You're looking at a 1986 Ford Ranger, the first year for port fuel injection. I ordered this out in late '85. Vehicles can have their good and bad points. This came with the same manual 5-speed transmission that was used on the previous carbureted models. Well, the fuel injection engines make more power, and yep, I broke the trans again. So I purchased an M50D 5-speed, which has much larger gears and even a synchro reverse. Note that the starter recess is on the opposite side and that the bell housing is cast onto this trans. Here's a side shot for the bigger is better thought. After cutting the transmission, I placed it in a bandsaw to cut off the bell housing. Here's where one gets a thought it can no longer be returned for a refund. I assumed the case would fit into the mill. Wrong answer. Luckily, when I removed the deck jack, I had just enough room to get it in there. Note how far the cutter is in the collet. After taking measurements along the way, an adapter plate needs to be made to accommodate the old bolt-on bell housing. This will be anchored to the trans case with 9 grade 8 1/4-inch bolts in those recessed areas. The 5 studs which hold the bell housing on were drilled and tapped and finished off with some 262 Loctite. The factory bell housing stud is on the right. There wasn't a lot of meat in that area, so the left one was added. And here is a look at the backside. To retain the proper clutch slave depth, machining needed to be done on the trans front bearing retainer. The original clutch, slave, and bell housing all can be reused. These projects are a lot more enjoyable when you start to see things going back together. Where the trans is all apart, might as well install some new bearings and synchro rings. The original transfer case does bolt to this transmission. It's been working fine, but seeing how it's out, we might as well install a kit in it too right away. There's a black tube in there with a filter on it. That's the pickup for the oil pump. Here's another little trick I did along the way. Here you're looking at where the clutch hydraulic line goes into the slave cylinder. A roll pin went through that hole horizontally to retain the clutch line. I drilled a hole vertically and bent up this hairpin. I also made up a hairpin for the clutch master. Now the clutch line can be changed without removing the transmission, and no tools are necessary. A custom linkage also had to be made that goes from the 4-wheel drive shifter to the transfer case. Take note on this 4-wheel drive shifter gate. Now for the 4-wheel drive shifter, you can see where they have that pattern where you got to move the shifter off to the left. By diagramming that out, you can just go 2 high, 4 high, neutral, 4 low. You don't have to do any of this stuff anymore. That's how it used to be years ago. Finally, ready to go back in, but you might have noticed the shifters come out in a different area. Galvanized tin was used for the tunnel opening and then cut the holes through to accommodate the different shifter locations. That was topped off with some sound deadening insulation and the wood trim. After completing this project, I went out and got kind of rough with it, and nothing broke. I think I should be set for many years to come now. And as you can see, things are holding out quite well. Well, hey tubers, hope you enjoyed watching the project, where there are more to come. Feel free to leave a comment, rate, or subscribe, and I'd like to thank you for watching. But I think my bird has a tummy ache.